Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here, and it is the last day of the old school block of the month. This is a project that Kim Lapacek, Persimmon Dreams, organized with 12 designers, and we each had a month, and I would think I was October, and we go out, and it was like on the 12th of each month the block was released, and I usually do mine a couple of days later. So today is the day for me to do the last block, but first, before we do that, this is one of the coffees that you all have bought me. It is a caramel brulee from Starbucks, yay, with decaf and soy, because that's what I have to have. No caffeine here, but that's okay. And also I have to show you my Jolly Housewives t-shirt from the Fat Quarter Shop. Last year I missed getting this, and they reprinted them for this year, and I just love it. This is a size extra large, so that it could be just a little roomy, gotta go over that, all the parts, so it fits. But they're so soft, you could wear this as pajamas, and it's really long. This is nice. This one's longer down like this, so I really like it. It is so soft. Did I say it was soft? It's so soft. Okay, like you, when I do a block of the month with somebody else, I have to go print the pattern. So Sherry Falls is our December old school designer, and she has given you a tutorial for how to do inset seams, which are really not hard, but they're not, like zipping along at the speed of sound either. If you're going to do one, you have to take, get your A game on, but the block is absolutely gorgeous. So here it is. Her pattern company, she does beautiful patterns, and I'm so excited to do this block, and I have not done inset seams for a while, so that will be fun, says she. So when I start, usually I put everything up on the wall and shown you, but I thought today, for the last block, I would get it out and put it up on the wall on video. I'm not going to fast forward, like, I don't know how to do that, make it all go fast and put music. So I'm just going to put a little bit up, and eventually I'll just chop some segments out here. So to begin with, I have my project bin, which I've been keeping everything in for the old school, and on top of it, because this is my setting, has these churn dashes, so I need to get the rest of the churn dashes done. I have probably about half of them done, but I kind of wanted to see what the last block was and what fabric I would use, because some of my fabrics I don't have very much. I went with this project I started with a layer cake plus several half-yard pieces and a couple, and I think at least one that was 1 yard piece, and then something for a border. So that meant like some of those 10-inch squares went pretty fast, and I don't have enough to repeat now. So I'm down to like a core group. I have the bigger pieces, so I have enough of those, but I want to use up those 10-inch squares as much as I can. So this is on top because they're kind of by color. Do this, and inside, when I get ready to put everything on the wall, I have to put it down on the chair because that's just where we are right now. Okay, so here is extra of this peach fabric. And these are the sashing, because the half square triangles go on there. So those are the sashing, and I'll put them up there. And then here are the blocks. So I will put the blocks up. I don't remember if I had them in order when I took them down. So what I'm going to do is put them up. They're 3x4. So I usually just take them out of here how they are, and this goes to the top left, and then the top row gets the second one and the third one. Then I go to the second row, and that's basically how I approach it. Whoops, got stuck on my sewing machine. So that's how I approach it with the blocks. And I've got the trusty ladder out so that I can get up higher on the wall, because I don't have long enough arms to get all the way up here. So what I did is I come up and put these three across, and they actually need to be spaced quite a bit more. It's 6 inches finished in between each one. So I'm going to go ahead and space them. So you have to sort of guess where 6 inches is, unless I go down here and actually get a sashing piece and put it up there, which, duh, that would be good, wouldn't it? So now some of my blocks I did use this peach as the background. So that means it's interesting because the block will kind of float a lot, like particularly this block. This block is really going to float out there in space, which is interesting concept. I'm not changing it, but that's the way it is. It may actually need to go in a different spot in the quilt in order to be highlighted better like that, since it is going to be floating so much. You know, maybe it needs to be the middle, kind of the middle one, so that it would look better that way. Maybe it's not going to matter in the scheme of things where I have it. So now I can reach things a little bit easier. I don't need the ladder in my way. Now when we did this block, there were 2 of them, and I have chosen this one right now to see what it looks like. I'm hoping I put that up there high enough. This one was, this was a beast. This was a beast, wasn't it? For those of you sewing along, I like hexes, but these were maybe during a time when I really wasn't mentally focused on them, so it was a challenge. And as of right now, I kind of have them in the middle showing off because they were a heck of a lot of work. It was a lot of work to get that to line up right. Now mine goes this way. So I did the courthouse steps, and I want them tall like that, the dark. This one with the curves from Yvonne Fouche, wasn't that fabulous? This was so great. I loved her tutorial, and the block is just so much fun. This was the last one that we just did with the mama bear and the baby bear paw. This is what I do to get it set up. Every time that I change a project that we're working on and I get everything out to put it on the wall, this is what I do. I have to get it out, put it away, get it out, put it away, which keeps things interesting because my design wall doesn't get boring. I don't have the same stuff up here all the time. I'm always changing it for what we're doing on video, you know, what project's going on. So that's actually kind of fun. I don't think I put these down far enough, did I? No, look at that. I made that way too skinny. But I want to sew some of this so that I don't have it all to put up here again. Maybe get a couple of the rows sewn because I can sew across the rows now. I have enough churn dashes to do that. Okay, 2 more blocks. Okay, so that means the last block, that gorgeous flower. And I can look then at what is happening with all of these and see, you know, do I like the layout? Let me get some more of these. Let me get these guys to put up here. Look how cute. I will do a layout pattern for this so that you have the sizes if you want to do this. And it's fun because you can do this for any sampler, this layout. It doesn't have to be just for this one. It can be anytime you have 12-inch blocks and you have 12 of them. You know, you can do this project layout. You're seeing this real time. And now the rest of the sashings go on the outside because I will, and I'm not going to do that today, but I will be putting sashing on the outside of each of these with churn dashes. And this is, oh, look at that. Look at that. And I do have the border, so I got enough of this, and there's enough to do some on the backing. I'd probably combine it with something else, but here would be, here's the border out here. So remember, there'll be another whole row of sashing out here. So it's pretty wide, and then border like that. So it's, looks so good. Look at that. I just love that, this peach. I'm so happy that I went with this and didn't sort of go, you know, I use a lot of white because it is easier for all of you to help and visualize when we're doing a project. And that's, you know, kind of like the learning part of it. But you know, I like breaking out and doing something different that maybe a lot of you might not do. And I'll give you a little tip on the construction of it. I'll just show you the inset seam. Sherry's tutorial is a photo tutorial, but it's very clear. It shows you exactly what to do. Today I really wanted to give you a peek at how I go about setting this up to show you each week. So I'm going to make my block. So picking the fabrics, it's the background I have to worry about. So let's take a look real quick. I have enough of this print here of the this floral, but the thing is getting contrast, which I believe I can get enough contrast, because this will be, let's have the actual pattern here. So the background is all, you know, out here. So the flower actually is pretty much takes up a lot of the space. So this will be the dark part, you know, so I get that nice strong vision in the center. And then here, the blade, the outer part of the petal will be the yellow. And then, which would be leaves, I'm going to use the rust. Then in the very center, I could use either this pink, or I have the same thing on white. This piece is all I have, and I can squeeze it out. I have the chrysanthemums, but I can't sort of fussy cut it. I have to check. No, I think it can be on square. The other option would be to use, all these would be to use, go ahead and use the peach, because I have plenty of the peach. Be the dark, the gold, and this would then float some. Definitely would use the pink in there. I do have 3 10-inch squares of this pink, but I don't think it has enough definition against this background to hold its own, even for that part of the petal. So if I go this way, you know, this will definitely float the flower out, and I think it would look, it might look nice because the other one floats as well. So there'll be 2 of them with all peach background that kind of float, and I think that'll be where I go. I've laid all the blocks out just like the pattern. So it's very easy to follow the pattern and follow Sherry's tutorial. So basically you're going to be sewing parts of this, like here. So she has you starting here so that you're just sewing part of this on, and then the rest, this will be flapped open so that eventually you'll be able to insert here. So you want to do exactly what she's saying, which is sew all of this, and then when you open it, you will sew all of this one all the way to the end, and then you will come here. See, they fit perfectly. You know, the seam allowances are there, so you will sew that one, and then you're going to be coming over here to this last piece. And when you get to the last piece, you will sew it first like this, and because this is a partial seam open, you'll be able to sew that on there, and then that seam will be done, and you'll be able to do this last piece here. Sherry made this so nice and easy. Since you have 4 units that are identical like this, you've sewn one with the partial seam. Here's the partial seam. Here it is on the back. So I just went, when I sewed it, I just went halfway. Then this one was added just normally, the whole seam across. This one was added here, normally, the whole seam across. Now we're to the last unit. And what you will do is you will lay it on here like you would normally, and you're going to sew it like you would normally. And because this is open with the partial seam, it matches right up there. And I'm just going to pin this so that you can see and flip it over. So I will sew that seam, and then when I flip it over, you know, it then just has this one seam here to finish where this is opened up, and I will come along and pin it and then sew just past where there's already stitching there, and then back stitch, and then you'll have your block. Here it is. I am so happy I went with the peach for the background because it doesn't show up a lot. There's not a lot of peach, so it's really, really good. And I'm happy that I went with the white because that makes a little pop in the center versus the pink, which I think would sort of blend too much with that peach. So I have a spot, I've switched the block around so I could put it up here. Just so that you can get close by to see it. So now, see, those two have floaters. Do you see the 2 of them that had the peach backgrounds float? So I will move them around, probably, like if I were going to do it right now, I would just shift this guy over here, the new one, the last one, and put this up here so that I balance that out a little bit. On my website today, I do have the sizes of the half square triangles, the 2 half square triangle units, so because I like to see what size they are versus just making them as the pattern says, because I want to verify that I have the right size. So those are on my website today, where you can also get the link to download Sherry's absolutely gorgeous Christmas block for us. This is so beautiful. I hope you had fun with the old school block of the month. I have the layout with my churn dashes at the website as well, so you can get that also and download it. So I love you. Mwah. See you online.